kita akan teruskan dengan our planet is in crisis, and without further decisive action, temperatures could rise from 2.2 to 3.5 degree by 2100. And in 2023, climate change prediction indicates that the likelihood of global temperatures surpassing 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels has risen to nearly 50% from 2022 to 2026. And the built environment sector generates 39% of annual global CO2 emissions, 28% from the energy needed for cooling, heating, lighting and operations, and 11% from their materials and construction, and global floor space is projected to double by 2060. 80% of all buildings today will still be standing in 2050, and the human race therefore has existential imperative to immediately address the sector's outsized contribution to global warming, as the problem will only get worse. Businesses and industries can play a role by implementing smart workplace solutions for hybrid spaces. So to discuss further, we have on the line is Adrian Pearson, the Vice President of Strategy IVIVA. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Adrian, how would you define a smart workplace, and what are the key components that distinguish it from traditional work environments, and how does it leverage technology to optimize productivity, comfort and sustainability within a dynamic work environment?
A smart workplace is essentially where all the systems speak to each other. As you know, when you're in a building and you come in, lots of things have to happen, from using the lift to using the car park, to being welcomed by someone. All of that information has to be gathered and centralized in one single way, because otherwise, as you said, the key thing is sustainability. It's how we lower our use of energy, how we optimize our use of energy. If we go to the office, do we have to go to the office? If we go to the office, what means are we going to use to go to the office? So our system is enable the operators, the owners of buildings, to optimize their systems and ensure that people have all the information they require to make better decisions, to be aware of their carbon footprint, to know when they should travel, because there are less traffics or congestions, which therefore involves a better, more fluid traffic. So there's lots of things that today work in silos independently, but tomorrow we need to bring all of that information together, which is what we do at IVIVA.
All right, what compelling reasons underscore the urgency for converting from conventional workspaces into dynamic, flexible and eco-conscious settings that aligns with the evolving expectations and needs of today's workforce, and what are the driving forces behind this shift?
I think if we look at COVID was an accelerator. There was something that was going to happen, and it just happened a little quicker because COVID came in the way. So we learned to work from home, and organizations understood that their workforce were as good, if not better, from working at home. But to do that on a general basis is inefficient. If you ask all employees of all companies to come back, that's not as efficient as to say, well, some jobs can be done from home, some jobs have to be in the office, and some jobs have to be out. And going, a salesman, for example, must go and meet his clients. It's very difficult to be a salesman and do it purely remotely from home. So I think there's a shift of behavior, and technology must adapt to that. It's not just about providing tools and more apps and more phones and more data centers. It's how we use that information. There is so much data that we have to make sure that the users, i.e. you and me, employees and everyone around society uses that data to lower their carbon footprint. And we need to gamify it. What other industries have done very well is to make something relatively boring very exciting. We need to bring the carbon footprint to an exciting and fun way of understanding how can I lower my carbon footprint. And if I do that tomorrow instead of doing that other thing, then I'm going to have a better and a lower footprint. Therefore, I'm going to improve the well-being of myself, my family, my community, and essentially everyone around me. So sustainability is at the core of the transformation of the workforce, not only because companies and governments want it, but because employees and everyone needs to make an effort to lower the carbon footprint and reach the net zero carbon goals that we all have throughout the planet.
Adrian, what are the profound effects of incorporating smart workplace solutions into hybrid environments, and how do these innovations contribute to the creation of sustainable, adaptable and efficient workspaces?
Today in 2024, the central element remains cost. So we need to reduce costs. And when I say reduce cost, it doesn't necessarily mean buy cheaper things. It's to optimize what we already have. As you rightly said in your introduction, the buildings that are standing today will still be standing in 30, 40 years. So we cannot scrap what we have today and build new things, because the embodied carbon generated by doing so will actually have a more negative impact. So what we need to do is what we call retrofitting, is create new things with older things. So the buildings that are standing today, we need to improve them. And the cost reduction is we're going to take all the systems that are within that building and optimize them through IoT, through AI, through machine learning. And all of that technology, it's not going to replace, but it's going to make things that have been there for 2 decades better, operate better. And that will reduce the cost, that will optimize operations. And one key element to this is manpower. Sometimes I hear we're going to reduce manpower, people are going to be replaced by machines, but that's not it. We're going to improve how people work. So it's just shifting how we work. We didn't work the same 50 years ago, and we didn't work the same 20 years ago. And today is exactly the same thing. Through AI and ML, we're not replacing people by machines. We're just making work better and more efficient in a different way. And in 20 years, there'll be another shift. But today, we need to focus on sustainability and the built environment.
But considering the longevity of buildings and infrastructure, what strategies can be implemented to retrofit existing structures with smart technologies to improve energy efficiency and as well as reduce environmental impact?
Yeah, so the absolute key to everything you've just said is orchestration. So in a building that has been standing for many years or that has just been built, there are hundreds of different systems. There could be hardware, software, IoT. So the first thing we need to do is we act as a translator, because each machine and each system has its own language. Imagine someone speaking French, English, Chinese. You need to have all of these languages translated into one. Once everyone speaks the same language, which is what we do, we bring everything through what we call APIs and different types of languages. We integrate all of that and we orchestrate it. So I'll use one very quick example. Let's say you come into your building in the morning, you're going to go and park in your car park, you're going to use the lift, you're going to use your turnstile, you're going to use your QR code, facial recognition. The lift is going to leave you at a specific floor. Everything I have just said involves many, many different languages. All of these systems speak a different language. What we do is we bring them together. We ensure it's translated on a single dashboard, so the building operators and the building owners understand how much things cost, how they operate, how they can be controlled, and how can they be optimized. And the last and most important thing is predictive. What we do is, through our AI models, we predict what the building is going to do in 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months. And that is the absolute key to everything, because it drastically reduces the expenses that are incurred by doing things inefficiently. If you know something is going to break down in 3 weeks, then your entire supply chain, your entire manpower operations, your entire cost structure changes, because you know ahead of time the things that will go wrong. And that's what we're very good at. And that's where the technology is driving us, through AI and machine learning.
All right, that was Adrian Pearson, Vice President, VP of Strategy, IVIVA. And you can find the full discussion on all of our Awani's digital platform and social media.